welcome back to Hi-Fi. I'm Kurt, and our special guest Kevin from Lembrook will be explaining about the new M10 and C399.
Hey Kurt, thanks for having me.
So, first of all, let's just get off a little about yourself. How long have you been in the industry for?
Approaching 25 years, I think. I mean, how many years have we known one another? It's been
for a while. Yeah, we were.
It's been more than a day, that's for sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Actually, we were 20-something years ago. We worked for two competing companies in the audio industry.
Yeah, so especially high-end retail.
Yeah, that's why I actually didn't like you that much back then. Yeah. No,
that sucks. Kurt, you know, while we're sitting here, I can't help but to notice you have one of our original 3020s sitting back here, and
yeah, actually, you know, it's actually funny. Marcos is, you know, another host on this channel. This is actually from his own collection.
That's his.
Yeah, that's his.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, he actually brought it here because he knew you were coming, and he actually wanted to show it. So
that's awesome.
So one of the really neat things about this is that the condition is perfect. Even the lights. So even on the tuner, that's the original bulb that's never been changed.
Wow. Hey.
Yeah, and so this is part of his.
Boy, that's like.
Yeah,
those are almost as old as I am.
Yeah. Actually, that is quite a bit older than me. You liar! So, which is good, but.
A bit of a little shot there, eh?
But definitely, yeah, it was. We thought it was a nice thing. I actually forgot to mention it. But yeah, it was all him. He actually didn't even tell me.
Do you know that is still the hottest selling integrated amplifier of all time? More of those were sold than any other integrated amp in the history of mankind.
Actually, I think I remember reading that a long time ago.
Isn't that something?
This was my kind of dream before, but I still couldn't. At that time, I just couldn't even get it.
I don't want to beat on this too long because obviously we want to talk about the new product, but that is a great example of NAD, and that heritage has stayed true all the way through. We are constantly trying to build a product that is going to way outperform everybody else at whatever price point. That was the success of that, and that's really the success of NAD for all these generations.
And it really is that, yeah, it's that iconic. I still remember it. I wanted to buy one, but I was a kid. My dad wouldn't buy me one. Yeah, this is pretty awesome.
That's a fun piece. I'm glad
it is. And actually, I knew he had this amp, but I actually didn't even know he had the tuner. With the introduction of the 399 and also the M10, what kind of changes did you see in the industry, and what things did you think were needed in these new products that came up?
Well, I'd say probably over the last 5 years or so. Well, maybe we'll even go back a little bit further. In 2006, NAD Electronics launched a new concept then called Module Design Concept. It wasn't really a brilliantly new thing, but what we did is we looked at a computer and said, hey, you can change the audio and the video cards inside of a computer. Why can't you do that in an amplifier? One of the things that NAD Electronics has always been focused on is value for your money. Everything we do, everything that we're concentrated on is giving you the absolute best performance we possibly can at whatever price point we're trying to hit. With MDC, that's probably one of the leading cool technologies that's come out with us anyway, is that you are now able to take advantages of all the greatest and newest technologies. Particularly in the 399, we just came up with the next evolution of product. Up until now, the MDC module was always designed as an output, something that we could take into the amplifier and then obviously play out how an amplifiers always work. Now the industry's changed a lot. Now we need both inputs and outputs inside an amplifier. So to facilitate that.
Yeah, so what would be an example of using something in an output?
Well, an output would be like Dirac Live, for example.
Okay.
Like you need to have a microphone input and output
okay,
in order to be able to control inside the room.
In the last 5 years, what do you think has been the biggest changes in the audio industry?
Well, really how music's delivered. I mean, our big passion, both of our big passions is music for people. It used to be you'd buy, an album and then a cassette and now a CD and then back to album. But it was a hard media thing that we brought home and that we would own on our shelves, and we would, maybe borrow from you, and I could try your album, you could try mine. But now we've we've evolved into this where it's music on demand, exactly what we want at any given time. And it's an exciting new frontier because it allows us to explore all kinds of different genres and different music types, different artists that maybe we never have before. And I think that's probably the biggest change that we had in 5 years. And it's not so much that that just happened. It's that now we're doing that in full high-res quality. Where, many years ago, it was MP3, which was substandard, that kind of thing. Like a lot of high-res audio is the biggest evolution that's happened in our industry in the last 5 years.
So with two new products coming out, you have the M10, and what we'll focus right now is on the C399.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what have you changed from the previous? What have you added to the new 399 that we might not have seen anything before?
NAD, we looked at digital amplifier technology many years ago, and we looked at it. We saw some potential in it that I think the rest of the industry maybe didn't. We still looked at older ways of doing it. 399 is our new flagship integrated amplifier in the classic line, but it's using a lot of the technologies that we had before that we pulled down from the Master Series product that's now been out for several years and has been very tested and tried and true and very well reviewed and received product. It does a lot of things differently, it exceptionally differently. One of the biggest things is the Encore amplifier that is now in the 399. For example, is load and variant. What that really means, we can talk about technical stuff, or you guys can ask me questions later, or add it in the comments section. I'd be more than happy to answer as many of this as I possibly can. But really what it does is it takes the flavor of an amplifier and it basically makes it neutral. So the amplifier is not coloring your audio. So, whatever the speaker designer designed, or, whatever speaker you have, whatever brand is your favorite, the amplifier is running that as true to its natural sound as possible. Whatever the load of that driver is does not affect the performance of the amplifier. For lack of better terms, give you the purest sound possible. And that's really the evolution of NAD, but also a digital amplifier. The 399, we're going to retail, Canadian retail is going to be $25.99. One of its coolest features is the MDC technology, again, is now an evolution of that. So 15 years after we launched it the first time, we're now looking at reinventing it with ins and outs like we discussed. What that allows us to do is use the new BlueOS module, which our sister brand Bluesound is a BlueOS operated high streaming. We're definitely in a leadership position in the Bluesound category from a high-res streaming category.
So Bluesound is, so you guys know, is mainly their streaming software. It was developed through Lembrook.
Yeah, 100%. It was 100% designed and built in-house. And we have our own engineering team here in Canada that is constantly the evolution of Bluesound and the BlueOS operating program, which is essentially the software that you use on a Android, iOS device, or Kindle even device, or even your desktop. It allows you to control, navigate, index, control your music in up to 63 devices throughout your home. Now that what we've done with the MDC technology in the new 399 is you're now allowed to take, let's say, a turntable that you plugged into your traditional amplifier. Now I can share it in my bedroom on like, say, a Bluesound Pulse soundbar. Or we could do it in the, you could do it off a power node on a powered set of speakers on your deck. Or there's so many options available to people. It's really an evolution.
And MDC, so we can kind of make it also clear to the viewers. Really, what it is, it's a cards that you can add, so you can be able to update, say add HDMI if needed. And now in this latest generation, from what I read, is you've got the latest MDC2. Is that
we're called the MDC2, and what that essentially is you can buy a 399 BlueOS. It's called. And the BlueOS adds a BlueOS module into the back. There's two MDC card slots in the back of the C399. One of them, for example, could be used for a BlueOS module. That's our high-res streaming. It also is going to enable Dirac.
Which is what one of the biggest things I'm really excited about. Because me being in the industry, one of your biggest challenge was always your environment. I think the best thing that I actually could have done was actually got Dirac certified down in Europe, and it was actually I think it really changed everything. And I'm actually very happy to see that it's in this price point, and because you can. So why did NAD feel it was really important to kind of?
Well, one of the things that Lenbrook as a parent company, we own NAD and Blue Sound, but we also own a speaker brand called PSB, which is our head engineering designer is Paul Barton, who's a legendary speaker designer and was influential in the creation of the NRC here in Ottawa with a guy named Dr. Floyd Toole. And essentially, when he designs a speaker, he takes it into this special chamber, and the chamber is void of all reflections and sound. So basically, you just hear what the speaker is capable of. And then what he does, he takes that and puts it into a room. And in that room, he's able to tune it to what Paul magically created speakers over the years. The problem is that's the last time that speaker typically sounds like that, because your room is different than my room or your room or really anybody's room. They're all a little different. So what Dirac essentially does is it takes the room out of the equation.
Yes.
And in Paul's words, it basically gives all the magic that Paul or other speaker designers have done in their labs or in their sound rooms across the world, and gives you the exact performance that they were trying to get inside their lab or the room. It takes away the room characteristics and other problems that cause, effectively bad sound.
Yes.
Right? So Dirac is one of the most evolutionary changes. Again, in the last 5 years, Dirac's huge. It's unbelievably monstrous, really. Because before that, we'd have to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for room treatments. Maybe even design a house around us.
And really, who wants to put all that room acoustics there? Sometimes, sometimes it's not possible. If it's going into a living space, can't put room. You can't put any room acoustic because medically, the other half may not agree. Mm-hmm. So definitely, even for me, I'm so glad to see it at that price point. You said at $2,600 Canadian.
Well, it's $2,600 for the amplifier, and then if you're doing the Blue S module, which would add Dirac, you're now $3,399.
So
you're going to be $3,400.
Okay, to add the MDC. Now, is that, because I know this is the next generation MDC, is that backwards compatible to like your previous models, like the 368?
No, the new module is only going to be available in the 399, and new products coming out from there. Obviously, it is the next evolution in our product line.
Yeah, and it's good for everybody to know, just to see if they're able to add that to their old one. But if it's not,
unfortunately,
it's okay.
Again, when we originally created MDC, it was evolutionary, and really, we're one of the only people that do it. It's a very unique idea. But it's very important and close to the chest of NAD as a brand, is that we're very conscious of, we want you to buy something from us and enjoy it for your lifetime. The idea is we want the product to last as long as it possibly can inside your home with the technologies you want today. You shouldn't have to garage sale something or trade it in or whatever the reason be. You should be able to enjoy that amplifier that you've invested good money in for really as long as humanly possible, and it's hard to see what changes are going to be. But the new evolution of it with the ins and outs capability, really, the way we're looking at it now is it's given us the option to build upon an already proven platform. Whatever the industry throws at us or whatever we can dream up of is going to be possible into the future.
Also, too, as well, big thing is voice command. I'm not sure if you guys integrate anything different.
Yeah.
I know you guys, in the previous Blue OS, you guys was a little bit of using Amazon Alexa, for example. Is there any other
with the Blue OS operating system, or more pointedly at the MDC2 module? You're able to use Alexa. You're able to use Google voice assistant. You use Siri. You're able, basically, if you can talk to something, we're able to play with it. More to the point, the product's also able to work into any integration systems. These people that have invested good money into a home automation system, lighting control, and all that other stuff. Really, anything. Name the product, and we should be able to work with it, or we're about to. We're really forward thinking.
Well, that's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I noticed is actually the power output. It actually seems quite a lot on the 399.
Yeah.
I think it's even more powerful than a lot of your other units. Your other integrated units.
One of the things that NAD over the last almost 50 years is really famous for is we deliver way more power at a price point than anybody else. 399 is capable of 180 watts full disclosure power all day long. Always gonna do that. With 250 watts of simultaneous power if needed. That kind of power, it's capable of running anything. This is literally an unbelievably powerful. And it's staggering. Its performance of accurate.
I actually can't wait to test it later, and we can really see, because the way I'm going to start testing a lot of our equipment is actually put it through real world conditions, see what kind of dBs we can hit. And it's going to be pretty interesting to see what this can do.
And Kurt, I'm happy to hear that, because one of the things that we do that's maybe a little different than a lot of manufacturers is when we rate our amplifiers, we're just talking about power. We actually do it into a speaker, into a dynamic load.
Exactly.
Like in a real world application, because really it doesn't matter what we can do with a resistor in some magical lab somewhere. What we really want to do is be able to tell a consumer the real world application of what they're buying. And that's important. I think honesty and straightforwardness is a crucial point.
Which is true, because right now, the thing is, sometimes when you look at specs, there's no standardized, which we won't bore you guys too much with that kind of stuff. Yeah. So,
again, in the comment question, ask.
And so any technical stuff, just remember, you guys can ask. I will forward it to Kevin.
And I'll forward it to my very good technical team that's probably better at that than me.
So especially anything on the technical side. Because we're always going to try to keep this as minimal on the technical side as possible, but we would love to answer you in the comments. Now that we kind of covered the C399, what we'll be doing next is we're actually going to be covering the new M10 V2. I'm hoping that you send the 399 as fast as possible.
We're excited to get them. Can't wait to get them.
I'm actually very excited to see how it is, and one of the reasons is because of the price point, and I'm quite excited. So stay tuned, and hopefully you'll get to me as soon as we can. We'll make sure to do a review right away. So remember to like, subscribe, and comment. That way, also too as well, is you'll be the first to see the 399 review, and we hope to see you then.